Hi, this is David. Welcome to the channel. This is New Vintage Photography. Last week we discussed zone focusing, and we're going to finish up with that today. Last week I know it was just all theoretical. I was showing a lens which happened to be the Nikon 24 millimeter f2.8 lens, manual focus. This was an AI lens, so it was safe to mount to a digital camera. And the camera we spoke about last week was the Nikon D50, which is about as inexpensive and cheap as you can get on a digital Nikon camera. It's very lightweight. It's a crop sensor, CCD sensor, so it has that color technology involved, and it renders beautiful color. So we showed some photos from that little camera and how they can rival almost anything if you use them correctly. So anyway, the camera costs about $35, maybe $50 if you get one in great condition. The lens that we discussed last week is that 24 millimeter AI lens, which is manual focus. And I think that lens, that dude may run you maybe $80 or something. But if they're used correctly, they can be faster than probably what you got in your bag right now. And I'm speaking of street photography right now. And they'll give you every bit as good of results. And I'm here to try to demonstrate that on this channel. I'm going to look down here at my notes because I'm going to be superimposing some of these photos as we go along. But this first photo, oops, it's not tap. Okay. This first photo is looking down at the lens itself. This is a Nikon 24 millimeter 2.8. You can see just a little bit of the little ears on the upper, be our right-hand side. And that is what helps you marry up to a film camera. If it had holes in it, which you can't see with this, but it does, it is AI and can be directly taken from a film camera to a Nikon digital. If it doesn't have those holes, that means it's pre-AI. And if you want to use it on any of the digitals, you're going to have to send it off and have it modified and actually milled down so it'll work. I just did that with a very famous Nikon lens, which we're going to talk about more in the next video. But back on this lens, what we've got here is let me show you. We actually went over zone focusing, and I was holding it with my hands, so it wasn't very steady or very clear. So now we've got a pretty clear picture. I took a photo of it with my iPhone 17 Pro. And if you look at the bottom of the lens, there's two sets of numbers that are identical. One's smaller than the other, and that's your aperture setting. And there's that little ears poking out that they're looking right at you right now. But you can turn that from 2.8 to 22. Now, as I demonstrated last week, and as you can see, a lot more clear, I don't know, clearer. If you look at the black dot on the silver ring, I've got that over 11. That's my aperture. I like using 11 out on the streets for zone focusing. Now, when it comes to portrait, or where I have control of the elements around me, and everybody knows I'm taking a photo, I'll change that depending on what I want my fall off to be on the photo. But for street photography, being stealthy about it, and not having to put the camera up to your eye and constantly focus, even with an autofocus, you've got to back button focus or something. People are going to know you're taking a photo. That's the bottom line. So I've got it at 11 if you look at that. And then if you look at 11, the number is yellow. So there's some lines right above that on the little silver ring. To the far side is orange. That's 22. And on the other side, right and left side both, you got orange stripes. You've got a number, aperture number, which is 16. and that's going to be the blue lines. So next to the orange is a blue line, both right and left side. Now, I'm at F11, so the next one is going to be a yellow line. Now, you see that? There's a yellow line right after the orange and blue line. It's on the right and left-hand side. Now, I wanted to shoot this. I wanted to make my photos, right around, I knew I'd be shooting around 6 feet. So I set the number. If you look at the top, it says feet in meters. I work in feet. I took that 5 and put it just a smidgen further than 5 feet over that black dot. So now we've got all kinds of things going on here. We've got the 11 on the black dot. We've got the yellow of the 11 on either side of the black dot. And we've got the foot marker at about 6 feet over the black dot. Got all that? Okay, you can also take a screenshot of this and study it later. And then if we look at, let's look over to the right-hand side, us looking at the right-hand side, and look at the yellow line. It's going to be just in front of that 3 feet. And I mean, I'm just not going to shoot any closer than that on the streets. Otherwise, I'd be up somebody's nose, and then I wouldn't be very stealthy. And then on the other side, the yellow on the other side, well, look at there. It's infinity. So I know that anything between about 3 feet and infinity at F11 is going to be an acceptable focus. Well, yeah, Dave, you tell us that, but let's see some proof. So that's what we're going to do now. To get ready to go out and shoot on the street, I had to go out and check my settings on the camera. Let me get over here to my, and this picture is a photo I took of a white house with lots of dynamic range behind it. That's a black car in front. Then you've got the shadows that the sun's peeking behind, all the way back down into the very depth of the dynamic range. The dark trees. You can even see the power line going across there. So it's sharp. It's between that parameter of 3 feet and infinity. Now, I wanted to get my exposure right. So what I did, I try to use as little ISO as possible on the streets. It was a bright sunny day, so I set my ISO to the lowest setting on this camera, which is 200. I also, because I'm going to be hand holding, I'm going to be out on the streets walking around and trying to not look obvious, I want to get my shutter speed as fast as I can. That will eliminate movement and make the possibility of a sharp photo a lot better than if I'm at a slower shutter speed. So I have it set at 250. Put it into Lightroom. This looks good. I'm happy. It's good and sharp all the way around. I didn't crush the darks. I didn't blow out the highlights at these settings. So the next thing I needed to do was find it not such a good little lighting situation. And that is this next photo. This is out in a very shady part of a lawn, a couple of old lawn chairs and pretty cool looking little table with an old water can there. And I mean, this thing was black at F11, 200 ISO and 250 shutter speed. But I wanted to show what this little old 6 megapixel D50, what its raw files could do. And I put it into Lightroom, really increased the exposure. I used everything possible that you could possibly use to demonstrate if this is going to work or not. I used layers. So I had a background layer where I brought out those little bushes where you could see them a little bit better. Then I went to the subject where I brought out the chairs where you could see them a little bit better. And after I did all that, it was pretty grainy. And normally black and white, I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I put the denoise app on it that's in Lightroom Classic, and doesn't look too bad. Then rather than using layers, I like to use a tool called the brush, which is in the layers button in Lightroom Classic. And that way I can paint what I want to lighten up or darken with that brush. You just rub it over those areas. And so it came out, it's okay. I'm happy with it. I'm ready to go downtown and shoot some zone focusing. So here we go. We get downtown, and I step out of my car and out from the parking garage, and this is the first thing I do. I just take a shot at the world in front of me, and look at that. It's cloudy. Dadgum clouds have come in and ruined all my exposure settings before I left the house, so I've got to do some adjusting here. So I go ahead and I raise my ISO to 400. I really don't want to get any further than that. And I started dropping my shutter speed, and I finally had to get down to 160. So I knew that these weren't going to be the sharpest images probably at that slow shutter speed, but this is a shot with those changes, and it's not bad. It's acceptable. So, and I lucked out that I happened to have some good leading lines coming off the parking garage, and then the cars are leading you back towards the end of the sidewalk where there's a subject that I'm getting ready to take a photo of. So here we go. Next photo, please. So this next photo is that subject that I was going to shoot. Now, this is a prime, so I didn't zoom. I have to walk in with my feet, and I used the settings F11, which gives me good focus range between 3 feet and infinity. So as you can see, there's no major problems with that. Unfortunately, shutter speed was down to 160 and ISO was cranked up to 400, but we're still good as far as I can see. I also took this next photo walking towards the young man, and or young person, I should say, and they've noticed me because we're getting ready to walk the same territory. It's not that he's nervous that I've got a camera up to my eye looking right at him. No, I'm just walking down the street. All of these I'm shooting at about belly button level, and I'm hitting them. These first few, I did chimp a little bit. I looked back at my LCD screen, which they do have on the D50, and I could see that the composition was right. It wasn't like he was way out of one side or the other. So I was happy with that. Never looked at it again until a little bit later on, and we'll get into that. I also wanted to use a color rendition of that. Love the colors of these CCD sensors. Again, it's a crop sensor. This 24 is basically a 36, which is a real nice street size to be out there walking around shooting these candid shots. But you can see the colors are nice. He's in acceptable focus range. So then I start walking down the street. I wanted to try just a walking shot. Got the camera slung around my neck, but off to the side on my hip kind of. And I'm just kind of looking straight ahead, and I push the shutter button and catch this. Well, I'm pretty happy that at 160, I didn't get a lot of blur. It's pretty sharp, and I'm moving when I took this photo. I thought it looked better in color, just if you look at the sky and the blue bricks and the guy's blue jean. Yeah, on and on and on. Could have cropped it between the lamppost and the tree and got a little better composition, but that's not what I was looking for on this one. I was looking to show us, does this zone focusing work? And then I got out to a place where I just took that little puppy right at my belly button, just looked out in front of me, and fired off a shot, and this is what I got. I'm really, really happy with how in focus it is from basically out in front of me just a couple of feet all the way out to that post office out there. Look at the sky, the colors. The reds on the left-hand side on that, I guess that's a bicycle. The colors of these cars parked here, the leading lines and the stones going towards the post office. And same thing with the curb on the other side and that red building at the end, that nice green tree right in the center. So I'm just so happy that we're starting to get some demonstrations that this thing works. And I'm walking along. This guy's walking right at me. This is downtown, heading to where I was getting ready to go to, and just fired off. I shot him. He's walking. I'm walking. It's relatively clear. I don't mind a little bit of movement on street shooting. And he's, the composition turned out okay. I kind of like that bull right over his shoulder. I like the way the frames of the windows are moving out or down towards the back of the frame, and then the sidewalk and the frames projecting out towards the subject that's walking towards me. And again, acceptably sharp, and I think definitely that the black and white was the right choice for that. So next we come to, this is my keeper. In fact, I am probably going to make a print out of this. I had to take 2 shots of this. The first one I shot real quickly and didn't get the 2 gentlemen in the foreground in the frame. So I just moved. I didn't have time to put it up to my eye to change it or to check the focus or anything. I just shifted my body a little bit where I felt like I was in a better position to take the shot, and I shot it. I'll tell you, if I'd had the camera up to my eye and was refocusing and recomposing, those dudes would have been gone. And then look down there in the lower right. There's a young child laying backwards in a chair looking at their iPhone or their cell phone with their hand on the stones. If you look further back, you can see some more stuff going on. There's a person with their arms folded to the left looking out towards the scene. Obviously it's some event going on. It was a food event, which I was happy to participate in. And then the people sort of middle and to right of the frame are all in nice focus. The parasol or the umbrella in the middle was pretty dark. I actually brushed that in, like dodging and burning, when I went back to edit and brought that out a little bit more. I thought it brought the attention a little more to the bike rider and to the people that are the leading lines of the stones are pointing towards. So I love that photo. Demonstrates on about a $110 setup, you can get some bangers. This thing will blow up really well, and we won't have any problem. There's old Ray barking. You know that's going to happen before the video's over. And then we had another one. Let's see. Okay, this gentleman, I was crossing the street, and he didn't know I was shooting a picture of him because I had the camera hanging around my neck and on my hip with my finger on the shutter. And he just paused to let me go by, and I fired it as I walked past him. And look at that. That is acceptably clear. I have no problems with that. But I thought in editing that it would probably pop a little bit more if I did the thing in color. So there we are. And I think that was the right decision. If you look at the blues in the sky, the cast on the windows on the right and left, the cast of that white truck, which is picking up the blue, of course the blue motorcycle, his blue cap. It's just a circle of nice blue, the leading lines, in the street, the curb, the lines in the street, the curbs both leading right towards him, all the buildings following straight down towards him. Great pop of color with the person standing on the side with the red shirt. And then on the other side, there's someone it looks like a green dress. That pops. Love this. Just love everything about it. And what's so cool, they had no idea I was taking a photo of them. So So I think we've got two more that I wanted to show here. Oh yeah, this one really is real street photography as far as I'm concerned. This is a lady. It's a food event, you see. You can see the food truck and people getting food back behind her right shoulder. She's carrying two big plates of good food. I mean, I went and got some food myself after taking this shot. She's smiling. She sees me. She's smiling not because she's posing for a camera. She's smiling because we're two human beings just acknowledging each other's presence. She had no idea. I had my camera down, hanging loose around my neck, around my belly button. My finger was on the shutter button, which she didn't know. And it just fired off. I think it took 2 shots, continuous, to get this. But again, and that's good. I'm happy with that. That might be a keeper. I don't know. I have to look at it a little bit more. And then here's the last one. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this one. So if you look at this kid looks like they're looking at me going, "What are you doing?" And that's not the case, but it's kind of cool that it looks that way. She had her dog, and everybody was coming up and petting it and complimenting her on it, and she was so happy. And I wanted to get her attention so she would look right at me, not because she thought she was looking at a camera, but I was asking her a question. I said, "What's your dog's name?" And even though she looks, you have no idea what's going on in her mind without me telling this backstory. She immediately broke into a big smile and told me what the dog's name was, and I went over and petted him. You can definitely tell it's a he by the photograph. But so all of these photos, I hope, demonstrate to you just the theory that we were working on last week about how the zone focusing works. How can it possibly work? If you don't have an automatic focus. Excuse me, I'm gonna put my laptop over here. You can see the proof is in the pudding, and that's what I'm going to try to always do with this channel. Is we'll discuss inexpensive alternatives to what's out there right now. I come from a background of using very professional, expensive gear in order to, as I said before, to keep up with what I thought I needed to keep up with my competition. I've told you earlier on in these videos that I was starting to shoot a few professional shoots with the D700, and we've moved a little bit towards there, and you've seen how that camera with these vintage lenses has performed. I've been paid well. I'm doing more and more work with it. I don't even tell people that I don't use expensive gear, that I'm using vintage digital equipment. This next week, we're going to discuss a lens that it's called the 150 2.8 pre-AI Nikkor lens. This is probably one of the best portrait lenses that has ever been made in the history of photography. It's unfreaking believable. Pardon my language, I almost cussed there, and I try not to do that. But there was a very famous photo taken of this on the cover of National Geographic. It was called The Afghan Girl. It was shot on film, but with this lens. Now, this lens I was not able to put on my digital camera. I had to send it off, and we're going to look at the pictures first, see if you like them. This will be next week because I just did a professional shoot with it. And we'll look at that next week, maybe even sooner. I love doing these things, so I had to hold off not doing them every day. But I'll give you the address and the contact info of the gentleman that I used to get this old vintage 105 2.8 lens ready to put on a digital camera. And he's good. I recommend him highly. A very experienced old dude like me. I don't know if he's 80 like me, but I think he's getting pretty old. Just I don't say old. He's got a lot of experience, and he's lucky he's lived long enough to share it. So here it is. It's the end of the video. As always, I'm going to ask that you please subscribe. Give me a like if you would. Comment. Tell me what you'd like to see. Comment on your experience going out and practicing with this zone focus. And if it still seems a little bit unclear to you, and you want to dive into something more specifically, go into, give me something in the comments. And if I realize that I have been inept or remiss in giving the information, I will do it in the next video to make up for it. But in the meantime, we're going to be hitting that 105 and some photos next week. Again, please subscribe, like, comment, pass it on to other photographers if you would. And I just appreciate the fact, I mean, we're growing. I had over 100 views. I know to the big guys, that's nothing. But to me, I appreciate those views. Thank you so much. I told you earlier that I had invested in some pretty expensive video editing software. Send it back, folks. I'm not that guy. Next thing I knew, I was looking like everybody else, using the same kind of graphics and all. So all I want to do is pass on information that I've had and that I've gathered through the years. I'm not a hipster. I'm a musician, so I'm pretty dadgum cool, but it's still playing. Got a show this Saturday night. If you're in the Triangle area of North Carolina, come see us. We're at the Speakeasies. But we're going to get this other video in the can and get it out to you. And do not make this work. Do not make this so expensive that you're always in anxiety. I'm here to try to take that anxiety away from you and expose you to good equipment that I already have. So let me make the investments and show you what the results are. And then you can make the final decisions, of course, on how you want to use that to, first of all, have fun. Second of all, might make a living at it. Anyway, I love y'all. See you next time.